A quiet evening in the small, cozy cafe was about to turn unforgettable. A single dad, carrying the weight of everyday struggles and the laughter of his little daughter, quietly sat by the piano. The soft hum of conversations filled the room, but his fingers moved confidently across the keys, coaxing a melody that seemed to float between the tables. No one could have guessed that the simple tune would awaken memories long buried. Across the room, a successful CEO sat with a friend, her mind caught up in work and the fast-paced world she had built. But the moment the notes reached her ears, her coffee cup trembled slightly in her hand, and her eyes widened. That melody, it was the same song she had loved years ago. During a chapter of life she thought she'd left behind. Neither knew each other. Yet in that instant, a bridge formed between past and present. The single dad played on, unaware of the storm of emotions he had just stirred, and the CEO sat frozen, heart racing, as memories rushed back with every note. What would happen next? Could this chance encounter change the course of their lives forever, or was it just a fleeting moment of nostalgia? The answer is about to unfold. The single dad's eyes stayed fixed on the keys, his mind only half on the melody. Every note carried a memory of his daughter's laughter, her tiny hands clapping along, reminding him why he kept going despite life's challenges. Raising a child alone had its struggles, long days at work, sleepless nights, and a heart that sometimes felt heavier than it should, but moments like this made everything worthwhile. Music had always been his escape, a way to connect with the world when words weren't enough. Meanwhile, the CEO couldn't take her eyes off him. That song, so familiar, tugged at something deep inside, a memory of her first love. A person who had disappeared from her life without warning. She remembered the late nights they spent dreaming together, the laughter, and the quiet promises that had never come true. Seeing this stranger play, that melody made her wonder, could fate really bring the past back to her like this? Her curiosity and disbelief battled with caution. She had built walls around her heart, and yet the music seemed to chip away at them, note by note. Neither knew what the other's story truly was. But the tension between past and present lingered in the air, thick and undeniable. The cafe felt smaller somehow, as if the music had drawn the two worlds closer together. The single dad glanced up briefly, catching sight of the CEO watching him with an intensity that made his fingers falter for a moment. He didn't know her, yet there was a familiarity in her gaze that unsettled him. His life had been about routine, protecting his daughter, and keeping his heart guarded. He wasn't used to strangers staring like that. The CEO, on the other hand, couldn't stop thinking about the song. Every chord brought memories she had tried to bury. The first kiss under the rain, whispered promises, the heartbreak of losing someone she had thought she'd never forget. Questions raced through her mind. Was this just a coincidence? Or had fate somehow intertwined their lives in a way she couldn't yet understand? Meanwhile, her phone buzzed quietly, a reminder of the world she couldn't escape: meetings, deals, responsibilities. Yet she couldn't bring herself to move, drawn to the melody and the man behind it. Across the cafe, the single dad's daughter tugged at his sleeve, breaking the spell briefly, and he smiled at her, unaware that her presence added another layer to the CEO's fascination. Something unspoken hung in the air. Was this a fleeting moment of nostalgia, or the beginning of something neither of them could predict? The answer remained just out of reach, keeping the tension tight and hearts racing. The single dad's fingers hesitated over the keys as his daughter's laughter echoed softly in the background. The cafe seemed to hold its breath, as if the world itself was waiting for what was about to happen. The CEO's eyes never left him, her heart pounding in a rhythm that matched the melody. Every note seemed to carry a message she couldn't yet decode, tugging at emotions she hadn't felt in years. He finally looked up, meeting her gaze directly for the first time, and the air between them crackled with unspoken recognition. His daughter clung to his leg, oblivious to the tension, while the CEO's hands trembled slightly around her coffee cup. Time seemed to stretch. Memories collided with reality, each one sharper, more vivid than the last. She could almost hear the echoes of her first love speaking through the music, and yet this man was a stranger. Around them, the cafe hummed with life chatter, clinking cups, but it all felt distant, irrelevant. Every heartbeat, every breath was charged with anticipation. Would he recognize the connection she felt? Did the music mean something more than a memory? The single dad's expression shifted, a flicker of curiosity and something deeper passing through his eyes. The melody reached its most delicate, haunting point, and in that instant, both their worlds teetered on the edge of change. What happened next could alter everything, but the answer still hung just out of reach. Just as the single dad's fingers hovered over the final notes, a sudden ringtone pierced the tension, startling everyone in the cafe. He glanced at his phone, frowning. The call was from someone he hadn't heard from in years, a voice that brought back memories he thought he had buried. His daughter tugged at his sleeve, sensing his unease, while the CEO's eyes widened, noticing the change in his expression. At that moment, a stranger walked in and dropped a folder on the counter, a stack of papers that seemed ordinary but carried an unmistakable urgency. The CEO's curiosity sharpened. She felt an inexplicable pull toward the unfolding drama. The single dad looked down at the folder, then back at her, and for a fleeting second, their eyes met. heavy with unspoken questions, that it wasn't just the melody that had connected them. Suddenly, it became clear that their lives were entwined in ways neither of them had anticipated. Secrets from the past, unanswered questions, and unresolved promises hovered in the air, making the room feel smaller, more charged. The music stopped abruptly, leaving a silence that throbbed with tension. Hearts raced, breaths quickened, and both of them realized this encounter was more than coincidence, it was a turning point. And just as they were about to speak, the folder slipped from his hand, scattering its contents across the floor, revealing a startling piece of truth that neither saw coming. The papers scattered across the cafe floor revealed more than either of them expected. A photograph slipped out, a younger version of the CEO, smiling with a man who looked strikingly familiar. Her breath caught. The melody, the memories, the sudden tension, it all clicked into place. The single dad knelt to gather the papers, his eyes locking on hers. "I never thought I'd see this again," he said softly, voice trembling with a mix of disbelief and recognition. The CEO felt her heart leap. The song, the chance encounter, the folder, it wasn't just a coincidence. It was fate, weaving their pasts into the present. She realized the man playing the piano was connected to her first love in ways she could never have imagined. And the single dad, seeing her stunned expression, finally understood why his heart had skipped a beat the moment she walked in. Eyes shifted to his daughter, laughing and clapping at the end of the song, and a warmth spread through the CEO's chest. Life had given them a second chance, not just for love, but for connection, for family. Just as they took a hesitant step toward each other, a final twist struck. The single dad's phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message from an unknown number. "I know what happened all those years ago. Meet me if you dare." Both froze, realizing that while one chapter had closed, an even bigger story was about to begin. The single dad slipped the scattered papers back into the folder, his fingers brushing against the photograph one last time. The CEO watched him, her heart still racing but settling into a strange sense of calm. The melody that had brought them together now seemed to carry a promise of new beginnings. She knelt beside his daughter, smiling warmly as the little girl offered her a shy wave. In that simple gesture, a bridge formed between past and present, between strangers who suddenly felt like family. They talked quietly, sharing fragments of their stories, laughing over coincidences, and marveling at how life had intertwined their paths. The single dad spoke of struggles and small victories, of late nights and tender moments with his daughter, while the CEO shared the challenges of running a company and the loneliness that success often brought. In that honest exchange, they realized the connection was deeper than nostalgia. It was genuine, built on empathy, understanding, and unexpected timing. As the cafe hummed softly around them, they stepped outside together, the crisp evening air carrying the promise of tomorrow. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they knew they wouldn't face them alone. And though the mysterious message still lingered on his phone, for the first time in years, hope and a sense of wonder filled their hearts. The music had played, the memories had returned, and a new story was just beginning.